In the last halachas of the Rambam, which we learned today on Gimel Tammuz, so there's the Rambam Messiah, very famously, Mechazadas Ba'ala Siyumi Rambam. Perik Yud Beis Halacha Daled. Leinisavu Hanavim V'Chachomim Yimesa Moshiach. Leikidei Sheyishletu Al Kol Ha'elam. V'leikidei Sheyirdu Begoyim. The Nevi'im and the Chachomim were not Nisave for Moshiach, not that they should rule over the world or the Goyim. Not that the Amim should honor us and uphold us. They did not want Mashiach for all his external reasons, to control the Goyim, to eat, to drink, to be happy. Rather, that we should be Panui. We should have time for Torah and Chachma, nothing should bother us and disturb us from that. In order to come to Chai Elam Haba, like we said in Hilchas Shul. The Rambam says that the Nevi'im and the Chachomim, I think other groups also the Chachomim and the Nevi'im, why they wanted Mashiach? They wanted Mashiach not for any ulterior motives, only for the union of Pnuim B'Torah B'Chachmas. No, what about the rest of the people? Chachamim and Nevi'im is Chachamim and Nevi'im. That's the order of the miut should be miut of Klal Yisrael. So what do the rest of the people want Mashiach for? Vice this, not for this. So what's the halacha here? As if the Rambam wants to tell us that this is how we're supposed to want Mashiach. The Bias Mashiach means to want Mashiach. Kadesh Pnuim V'Derech Chachmasos. They should tell us that Tzrichim L'Savos L'Mashiach L'Ei B'Shvil Zeh L'B'Shvil Zeh. Fakert, from the fact that the Rambam says L'Nisav V'Chachomim Nevi'im, L'Churi, he's telling us that for regular people, that's not how it was wanted. No, so then it's not necessary. It's necessary only for Chachomim Nevi'im. No, there's no halacha. The Rambam is not a sefer written for Chachomim Nevi'im. Yeah, the Shaila doesn't need to be explained. I think L'Rei Pshitusi, what's the kavana of this particular Rambam of telling us how the Chachomim Nevi'im do it? What's the halacha b'zeh? And what's the mashmos l'gabe everyone else? A close kasha. I didn't see it. Upon the Rebbe Sichas, I didn't see the beer in this union. If someone sees, please let me know. Interesting. The next halacha, the final halacha of the Rambam concludes by Isi Azman leYisham leRov leMilchama leKina v'Sina v'Sachrus. In that time, there won't be hunger, there won't be war, there won't be competition, jealousy. Goodness will be plentiful. All delicacies will be as common as dust. You hear that's the lashon in this round. That's the Girser. And the Asik of Kol Elam, other places of Kol Elam Kule, Ladasas Hashem Bavad. And he finishes Shenemar. But Al Kapanim, what does it say in this Rambam, in this halacha? That on that day there will be all good. But lo ye'esa kol le'ilam kulei ela ladas Hashem levad. Kol le'ilam kulei means everyone. Kol le'ilam kulei doesn't just mean Yidden. It means kol le'ilam kulei. The Rebbe's medayik already. That means even the goy. That the esek of the entire world will be ladas Havai levad. Kumtes. In the halacha Daled, when he talked about the taiva for Yemei Mashiach, the Rambam talked about the taiva that the people who want only lambs for Pnuim B'Limud HaTorah is only Chachamim Nevi'im. In other words, even Metech B'nei Yisrael, it's only the top group, the Chachamim Nevi'im. A step later, it says, what's the Biur Mashiach will come? Everybody will be interested. Their Asik will be in the Ladasas Hashem Bilvad, not in all the Gashmis Yonim, even the Goyim. So, whereas in Halacha Daled, he was Memayit B'Tachlis, and said that the Nisavu for the Darga, for the ones who want Mashiach only for Torah is Chachamim Nevi'im. And Halacha Hey says when Mashiach will come, even Umasailam, Kol Le'ilam Kulei, their only concern will be the Ladasas Havai B'Vad. The Pashtus is not as to. One is talking about Bisman Hazeh, one is talking about Mesa Mashiach. Bisman Hazeh, when we have a taiva for Bias Mashiach, so in order to be on the Madrig, that the taiva is for Torah Levad, that's Chachamim Nevi'im. But later, when Mashiach will come, everything will change. Everyone will understand the difference, and then everyone, that's all they'll care about. So it's not a stira between Dalit and Hey, but still, this doesn't answer the kasha that what's the halacha in Dalit. The Bisman Hazeh, if it's not shaykh for regular people to have that taiva, so why is the Rambam still telling us you should know a piece of information how the Chachamim and Nevi'im are misaveh for Yemei Mashiach? You have the Rambam. The Rambam referenced Hilchos Shuvah, the other place where the Rambam famously talks about these in Yonah. And there, in Hilchos Shuvah, Perek Tes Halacha Beis, the Rambam says, "Mipnei zeh hisavu kol Yisrael, nevi'ehem v'chachomehem Yemei Mashiach, Yemei Melach Mashiach, k'dei sheyenuchu mimamlechus harisha she'ena manechas l'an Yisrael lasik b'teir b'mitzvos keigen, v'yimtzu l'an margeya v'yirbu b'chochma k'dei shizku l'chai l'mabur." So there the Rambam saying the same idea, that the taiva for Yemei Mashiach is in order for Limud HaTorah, Pnuyim b'Limud HaTorah. And yet, over there you have the Shinui Ikri b'Yeser. He added 2 words, that Mipnei zeh yisavu kol Yisrael nevi'ehem v'chachameim. There Itaka says kol Yisrael. There is Gishmak. There it says, this is the type of kol Yisrael nevi'ehem v'chachameim. So, but obviously, that doesn't answer our kasha. Fakert now becomes a stereo Rambam. That the Rambam in Hilchos Shuvah says that the taiva for Yemei Mashiach for Limud HaTorah is shaykh to kol Yisrael. And in the Besim v'Chesim Sifrei in Hilchos Melach Mashiach, here the Rambam says le'nesav v'chachomim u'nevi'im. So is it something that shaykh to kol Yisrael or not kol Yisrael? So the Gabi this shaila I found that it's mentioned in the Rebbe's Sikha. That is the Tovshin Memtes was the Sima Rambam then was in Shabbos Parshas Vayigash Tes Tevis, and there the Rebbe is beautiful hadrin on the Rambam. And in the Teichen Advarim, the Iker Nekuda is the difference between the tier of Yemei Mashiach, the way it is in Hilchos Melachim, versus the tier of Yemei Mashiach, the way it is in Hilchos Shuvah. And the Nekuda Advarim, again, it's a long, beautiful hadrin with a ribui pratim. But to say it over, Mamish, the Nekuda is that the Yemei Mashiach, the way it's described in Hilchos Shuvah, is a lower madrega. It's a lower madrega than the way it's described in Hilchos Melachim. Because of whatever, because it has, as explained there, it's 2 different madregas and Gilo, because Ba'elam is Shleimus HaToiv. And it's, I think perhaps one of the Yukim is that over there in Hilchos Shuvah, the Rambam brings a pasuk Kimala Aretz Deis Havaya, and that's it. But here in the end of the Sefer, the Rambam brings Kimala Aretz Deis Havaya, Kamayim Liyom Achas. The Rebbe explains Mola Aretz Deis Havaya is the Shleimus of Aretz, that the world comes to its highest madrega of the Asas Havaya. Kamayim Liyom Achasim is the Bittul Ha'elam. It's totally Mechuseh, it's covered over. So in Hilchos Shuvah, we're talking about Shleimus Metzias HaOlam, Shleimus Metzias HaOdam, it's through Torah. And in Melachim, in the end of Rambam, is talking about how there will be Nizgal in the world, the Madrega V'Lakus, that's Mevatel the whole Metzias HaOlam, we come to a higher Madrega altogether. With that, the Rebbe explains a lot of the Yukim, a lot of differences between them, in the Prim and also in the Haaretz. So in Haaretz 46 over there, the Rebbe says this verse. He says, which is the way it is in Hilchos Melachim, the dargya that's going to be by the dargya of Yemei Mashiach that's described in Hilchos Melachim is a very high madrega, and therefore it's not shaykh that today most people should have a taiva for that dargya. The Leikim Yeshakasa Hilchos Shuvah Nisavu Kol Yisrael Leviim V'Chachamei Yemei Mashiach. Ki Hilchos Shuvah Hataiva Hu He Sheyimtzu LaMargeya V'Yirbu B'Chachma Shleimus Metzias HaOdam V'Lei Bittul Metzius. In other words, the Rebbe told us over there that there's taka 2 madregas in the Inyan, in the taiva for Bittul for Chachma and the Torah of Yemei Mashiach. There's a lesser madrega described in Hilchos Shuvah that's shaykh to Kol Yisrael Leviim V'Chachamei. And then there's a higher madrega of Bittul Metzias HaOdam Kamayim Liyom Achasim. That's not going to shaykh to the taiva of Kol Yisrael. That's only Chacham and Nevi. So Al Kapanim, there's no stira like that the beer in the Sikha that Hara. So that is miyashiv the apparent stira, if this is a taiva of Kol Yisrael or not, because it depends which madrega. But again, obviously this doesn't help Arkash, because Lepeil over here in Hilchos Melachim, we're talking about a madrega that is not shaykh taiva to everyone. The way that Rebbe explains it, noch beser, noch starker. It's a darg of bitla metzias, and most people aren't shaykh to that madrega. Al Kapanim to have the taiva to that madrega. So very back to the shaila. So was is taka da halacha? Halacha for chachamim and nevi'im. L'chura balta is gewissen efshar a zweite word, and that is that the Rambam perhaps is telling us fakert hagufa that for regular Yidden to have a taiva from Moshiach for other reasons is okay. In other words, when the Rambam is saying, Mashiach, he's really telling us two. He's telling us that you could have a taiva from Mashiach for the other chalak and for the other inyan. That's called also wanting Mashiach. Nervous, a person has to know what's the shleimus, what's the highest madrega. Every person always has to grow in his desire, in his maturity. In pashtus, they say a pashtur mashal, a child likes small things, and he gets older, he likes bigger things. Part of getting older is training oneself to like and appreciate bigger things. When you tell a child, Taka, right now you only like this, but there will come a time that you'll appreciate something much greater. And that's Taka what the Rambam is saying over here. He's saying, you want to know what's the highest madrega of taiva from Mashiach? What's the real ultimate maila? Is the madrega of pnuyim b'tereh v'chachmas. And that's Taka the Chachamim Unavim who are on the highest madrega. That's why they wanted Mashiach. But Enochanami, if you're not part of that, it's okay. You're not part of the Chachamim Unavim, but you're part of Rev Binyan B'nai Yisrael, that they also want Mashiach. And that's Taka the Hemshech, the next halacha hey, and it says, man. There will come a time when every is going to grow up, when we all have the maturity, the understanding, the feeling that this is the ultimate thing to want. But the Rambam is telling us a beautiful halacha over here. He's telling us what's okay and what's the higher madrega that a person should aspire to. And there's we can have a big yisoid from that. There's a sicha l'chudisichas chelik lamed zayin b'chukesei. There the Rebbe at room, Shaila, why is it that in the Torah there's so much talk about the Yehudim Gashmim of Yemei Mashiach? After all, the Iker is Ruchnius, the Iker is Gilei Lakus. Why is the Torah talk about Yehudim Gashmim? So the first beer that Rebbe says in the Sikha is because, people, to them, Gashmi talks more than Ruchnius. And just like B'chal, why they always talk about Schar Gashmi for Torah mitzvahs? All over the Torah, the Schar Gashmi. That's why it's the Sikha Pashas B'chukesei, which is about, B'chukesei Telechem and Asati Gishmechem B'itom. Why does Abisha talk so much about Schar Gashmi? So because we're Anoshim Gashmi, so to us, the first thing that talks is Gashmis. And that the Rebbe is Moshiach in Order 23, again, B'chukesei Lamazai in Order 23, says, Nesif ala Posher ben Gelas Manazeh, Kivon Shechayov Lahamin B'vias HaMashiach, V'gam L'chakis L'biyosei. A Yid is chayiv to believe in Mashiach and also to await his coming, like the Rambam says. V'roiv b'nei Yisrael l'fi mamodum u'matzavam ato b'zman hazeh le'yis eiru l'chakis b'shleimus b'yedu rak mi'aschar v'teyelas ha'ruchni l'rak yishayedu gam mi'aschar v'teyelas ha'gashmi. In other words, the Eibusha wants us to wait for Mashiach. Most people just telling them there's going to be a lot of ruchni schar is not going to make them wait so much. So b'meila it's important that they know that b'gashmi will be good. So b'meila they'll wait. That's what the Rebbe says here in this order. Al kaponim kumte is klar from der order in Likutei that a person that the reason why there's so much gashmiistic promises for the time of Mashiach, one of the reasons al kaponim is because that's going to help that we should be mechake lebiyose. Kumte is that a person is mechake for nyonim gashmim that he's shaykh to when he's not shaykh nyonim ruchnim. That's called mechake lebiyose. That fits perfectly with this particular Rambam. The Chachamim Unavim wanted it for the ultimate reason, and a regular Yid that wants it for a secondary reason, for an ulterior motive, is a gesundheit. So he's not a Chacham v'Navi, but that's also mechake lebiyose. My say is we can do fragen Hashem. That is, there is another Sicha Yedua B'Yeser, Balak Chelik Yudches, Balak Beis Chelik Yudches, which is also in the Dvar Malchus that the Rebbe handed out in Tavshin Manalef, which now there's a big koch, a lot of people were learning it lessons. So there, the Rebbe says, what's the Gedr of Yemei Mashiach? Again, Arichus Dik Sicha, and then to the Nekuda Klolos of that Sicha is that the Gedr of Yemei Mashiach, Al Pi Rambam, is in that then will be Shleimus HaTeirah V'Mitzvos. That the Mashiach will come to Machzer, Malchus Zav L'Yoshma, L'Mem Rishena, V'chizim Kol Mishpatim B'Yom K'Meshei Mikeda, that Mashiach is coming to bring Shleimus HaTeirah V'Mitzvos. So with that, the Rebbe is Masber so many different protim especially in the Rambams, about Mashiach. The Rebbe says in the middle of the Sikha, in the middle of his test, there's a Chatzi Ribua. He says, Rebbe V'Yashleimar says, Eichan Afkaminu La'alocha B'Peil. To know that Mashiach is about Shleimus HaTeirah V'Mitzvos. L'gabi D'Ramuna B'Ei, Unin Voses Dar Zayin Der Mechake L'Biyos. Bald as Dosis der Gather from Mashiach, darf die Emuna sein nicht bleis, als wird kommen, bechtet zu eis lesen die Eden von Golus. Nur mein Min Bey, als ist Machzer, Malchus, David L'Yeshna, v'chezern Kalam Nishpat. In other words, if the gather of Mashiach is a certain Indian, Shleimus HaTeirah V'Mitzvos, so the Emuna and Mechake L'Biyos has to be for the Indian of Mashiach. That's what the Rebbe says there. No, the Freshach HaShayel. A person who wants Mashiach, let's say a person who's a very megushim person, and he wants Mashiach because he's going to get a beautiful car, because someone told him he'll have the beautiful house or car. So according to what we just learned in Rambam, it's okay. It's also machakel biyosem. The Rambam says only Chachamim and Neviim wanted for the ultimate reason. And al derech that we saw in the Sikh and Chelik Lamed Zayin in the Or, that's one of the reasons for Yehudim Gashmiyim, that a person was not holding by interest in Ruchnius or Taiva for Ruchnius, Alpana has a Taiva for Gashmiyim. The Ma'ases in Chelik Yud Ches, the Rebbe told us that the machakel biyosem has to be for what Mashiach is. Person is machakel for a new car. What's that with Mashiach? In other words, here's the shaila. This is the shaila. The bemis is a shaila close. The union of Emunah Mashiach and Machakel B'Yosei is a yisaid in Emunah. It's a yisaid ikri. One of the Yud Gimel ikri Emunah. Why is it a yisaid in Emunah? Because the union in Klolos Emunah, Shlem Sater V'Mitzvos, Gilul Kusan Elam, Dilip Tachteinim, whichever lashon. But a person who wants it only for Gashmius, in what ways he be Mekayim and Machakel B'Yosei? He wants a Gani Gashmi. And especially according to what we just read in the Sikh and Chelik Yud Ches, the Takin and Machakel B'Yosei has to be connected with the Geder of what Mashiach is. But this person wants it for Yehudim Gashmi. No, that we find something similar. L'gabe Tefillah B'chlal. When a person davens to the Eibishter, and what's he davening? He's davening for Yonim Gashmi. So there is famously the Sikh and Chelik Yud Ches, Rosh Hashanah, Vov Tishrei. The Rebbe talks about Tefillah Chana. With the time of Eli. Eli thought that she was a shikera, again, arichus, but the Nekudas Advarim of that sikha is that really when a Yid davens, the Rebbe asks Akash, it comes to Rosh Hashanah, the Haftarah HaMelech, Revatal herself to the Melech, and what's a Yid davening for? He's davening for his Gashmis. Here he's davening, Melech HaKolim Kulei, and what's the Teichin of his Tefillah? Give me this, give me this. And the Rebbe explains that really when a Yid davens for Gashmis, what should he be davening for? That he wants Gashmis in order to be Mekayim Ratzon Eliyah, to fulfill the Eibishter's kavanah, the Tachtenim, and so on and so forth. That's why he's davening for Gashmis. So it's not a stira that I'm mevatel myself to the Eibishter and I'm asking for Yonim Gashmim. I'm asking for Yonim Gashmim in order to be Mekayim Ratzon Hashem. Yeah, Rebbe, the problem is many people, that's not why they're asking for Yonim Gashmim. It's not a stira to ask for Gashmis when I'm being misbatel to the Eibishter, if the kavanah is to serve the Eibishter, but that's not the reason why a lot of people are asking for Yonim Gashmim. Them sagt the Rebbe from the Baal Shem Tov. The Torah even that when a person is hungry for something physically, it's because his nefesh really wants the pnimis of that inyan. So that's over here when a person is asking for gashmius, mitzad his guf is asking for gashmius because that's what he wants, because it tastes good. But mitzad his nefesh, he wants the gashmius with mekayim de'b'shus kavan. So that's how it works out. Takil is davening, takil Rosh Hashanah, Mele has been his battle to the Eibishter. He's asking for Gashmius, but Pnimius. Why is he asking for Gashmius to be Mekayim Ratzon Hashem? That's the Teichin of the Biur. That's what the Rebbe says in Chelik Yud Tes, L'gabe the Tefillah of Rosh Hashanah. There's a Sikh in Chelik Chof Gimel, Matas Masay Menachem Mov. The Rebbe talks over there about davening b'chlal for you, not just Rosh Hashanah. He brings what the Magid said that when a person has to daven, when a person davens b'chlal, says that Magid says Ein Lispalel Ela Matech Kevid Rosh. Says another. Says Magid, what's the Kevid Rosh? Person should be mispal not for his own chisarn, but for the chisarn of Reish, the whole Reish of the Eibishter. The Teich Kevid Rosh, a person should daven because what the Eibishter is lacking, that the Eibishter's kavanah should be in his mal. No, fragt the Rebbe weiter, most Yidden don't daven that way. And the Siddur doesn't daven that way. The Siddur doesn't talk about Kevid Rosh Be'ikr. The Siddur talks about Tzorachim Gashmi. And the Rebbe answers al derech, the answer that the Rebbe said in Chelik Yud Tes about Tfilas Rosh Hashanah B'chlal, that when a person, that the Eibishter is Bechiras in Gashmi Saviyit, in the Guf, Bona B'chartas in the Guf HaGashmi, in Gashmi. And Memela, when there's a Chisarn in Gashmi, it's a Chisarn in the Shechina, the Eibishter has a Chisarn. The Eibishter feels the Chisarn. So Memela, when a Yid is davening for Gashmi, is B'pnimius, what's he davening for? Because he's davening because this is lacking. Who's it lacking for? It's lacking for the Eibishter. He doesn't know it. He doesn't know it. But that's the opinion. That's why his neshama is davening. So it's not a siddur. The siddur is all written about Tzorachim Gashmin. The Magid said that you have to daven for Kevid Rosh because Tzorachim Gashmin is Kevid Rosh. Components we have the Gabi Tefillah, Sai the Gabi Tefillah Rosh Hashanah and Chelik Yud Tes, Sai the Gabi Tefillah Kol Yom and Chelik Chav Gimel. That the Rebbe tells us this, you say that sometimes the Guf wants it for one reason, but the Nefesh wants it for a deeper reason. And that counts. That's enough. That makes it okay. Nu kann man es zurückbringen da zu Nesava for Yemei Mashiach also. That Enoch and Ami, our goof, the goof of Yid might want Yemei Mashiach for Dvarim Gashmi, but nevertheless, the Nefesh wants it for the real reason. So that's why it's still part of a emes Machakel of Yossi and Nesava Yemei Mashiach. As I can say, after the Rambam says in Halacha Dala that we read that Chachamim and Neviim wanted it for the ultimate reason, then comes Halacha Hey. There he says, etc. And therefore, and it will be that all of those in Yonim, all those Dvarim Gashmim, those good gifts of Le'Rov, Le'Mulchama, Teva, Tibish, Pas Harbe, will bring the union of if we have everything, we don't have to be busy with fighting wars or with making money or with buying food. We have everything. So therefore, could be Likta Hasbara. So Mela, the person who wanted Dvarim Gashmim, the Pnimis, what did he need the Dvarim Gashmim for? To get to the Plurim B'Teiv B'Chachmas. Like the Yid was davening for Dvarim Gashmim to Mekayim Ratzon Eliyah, to do the Aveda Direi B'Tachtonim. So Mila the Rambam to say the Masudar, first he says the Chachamim Nevi'im wanted for the ultimate reason. The other people wanted it for the secondary reason, but that secondary reason is also for the ultimate reason, because that brings to the ultimate reason. The Dvarim Gashmim Bahashpa, Beribui, Bahashpa brings us the ability of La Yesek Kolim Kuli Eladas L'Shem Blavat. The Maisa is that I think perhaps it's not enough this view, because by tefillah, lapel, there's a mitzvah to daven to the Eibusher for a person's tzroch. And that mitzvah, the pashtus, is when a person has a headache to daven for the Eibusher, when a person is lacking money to daven for the Eibusher because he needs his money. The problem is, but there's a higher dargin davening of bittul to the Eibusher and davening for kevid rosh and being this battle. So vuda the hechre madrege, of them zotman, them enfer from Baal Shem Tov, that the goof wants it for this reason, the nefesh wants it for a deeper reason. But this biur against Sa'ilak Abetfilas Shoshana and Sa'ilak Abetfilas Koliyim V'yim is only a biur to explain how the higher part of tefillah is also happening. But lapel the etzamat tefillah as a yid bet Dvarim Gashmi, that is the mitzvah of tefillah. There's no kasha about the mitzvah of tefillah. The kasha is how that fits with the higher kavana and tefillah. And that we have these biur. But when we come back to Mashiach, come on, why is that an inyan to be mechakel b'yosef for Dvarim Gashmi? If there's an inyan to mechakel b'yosef Dvarim Gashmi, nervous the hecher for anyonim ruchniim, so then it's like tefillah, and then you can answer, good, the nefesh wants it for a higher reason. But I think back to our kasha, if a person wants Mashiach Dvarim Gashmi, what does it have with Mashiach? Elamai, the whole mechake is because of what the neshama wants. But the Yid is mechake, what he wants first and foremost is what he wants with his goof, with his mind, what he's thinking when he's saying. And if the Rambam is saying and the Rebbe is saying that it's okay to want Mashiach for Dvarim Gashmim, at least that's a basic level. Vuda the mitzvah, vuda the yisayid amunah and the minyan. So I mean, I'm being mekatzer, but I'm saying that the biur of tefillah perhaps is not enough to explain the way it is by Mesa Mashiach. I'm being mekatzer, but after is the nekuda tifir. That is based back to that sikh and chelik lamazayin b'chukaisai, where the Rebbe asked, why is there Yehudim Gashmim in Yemei Mashiach? And the first part the Rebbe said, because people, the Gashmistic people, they need you have to talk with them about Gashmis to get them excited. Only then can you talk to them about Ruchnis. But then the Rebbe goes on to a second chelik in the sikh and says that's not enough. Because it's mashma from the Rebbe's different Makeda said, no, Yehudim Gashmim from Mesa Mashiach is a chilek of Mesa Mashiach, not only because some people don't relate yet to Ruchnius. It's part of the Yehudim of Mesa Mashiach. And the Rebbe explains the Nekudah Hadvarim is that Yehudim Gashmi is not just because there's a person was halnish bed in Madrege for Ruchnius, merely you tell them about Gashmis. But Yehudim Gashmi is a chilek of the Shleimus of Mesa Mashiach. And why is that? Because when there's Gili Elikus B'Shleimus, so there's Hashpah HaGashmi is B'Shleimus. Elikus, when Elikus is B'Goli, when Elikus is B'Shleimus, then everything is B'Shleimus, because Bemis and Eibish's world, everything is connected. And the Shleimus of every Indian is Negei, and the Shleimus of Torah Mitzvah is Negei, and the Shleimus of the Eibishter. So B'Meila, the Torah says that the Gili of Mashiach will be in every prat of Elam. Of course, Beruchnis, but also Begashmis. Only when it comes down Begashmis, also do you know it's a Shleimus to Gili Elikus. That's the Nekuda. Other Rabbi someone should be mine in the Sikha inside to see more of the Prot. And that is the fact that there's going to be Hashpah Gashmis when Mashiach comes is not derech agav. It's not derech agav at all. It's part of the Gilui of Mashiach. And b'meila kemazagna l'inyanein. When a person says he wants gashmis, because that's what's important to him right now, and he understands how's he going to get gashmis, because Moshiach will come, and Moshiach will bring him gashmis and gashmis, because he learned in the Gemara that then will be the goodies growing on the trees. So, and he's waiting for that with the emes takeif. That is a mechakel b'yosi, because that's an emes that Moshiach brings in yonim gashmi. That's a chedek of Bias Mashiach that brings shlemas and gashmis also, of course, because of the shlemas and ruchnis. So it's not like he's being mechakev for something silly that has nothing to do with it, but nashram ben tisatav, that there's also that he also really wants to bring material b'chachmasa. No, he wants to have an inyan of Mashiach. With Elamai, he only understands the lowest point of what Mashiach is bringing to the world. And as he gets older and he becomes more of a chacham and more of a navi, until it comes the time of Yemei Mashiach, le'yesek kol and kuli et verstehen. Was der Iker and was der Tafel. But the nekuda was we bring that race is that their Tafel is echet an yin from Mashiach. So Milo, that's also an yin from Mechakel Biyos. Was Bazei again betachlas akitzur can sagen as das is Punkt al derech der Ingen was wir gefinnen that a person should be esek and terer mitzvah shalei lishma mitech shalei lishma bal lishma. And then we have biurim from the Rebbe in a few places in Kodesh Sichos. I'll just be messiah too. One is in Lech Lecha, in Chelik Chof, Lech Lecha Beis, a whole biur over there in the union of Schorcha Harbe Me'ed that the Eibush of Avram Avinu. And the Rebbe wonders why is that such an important thing to tell Avram, Schorcha Harbe Me'ed. And the Rebbe brings a whole Maimer Azeh Aramaisa with the Rabbi Yesi who came to learn by Rabbi Abba. And Rabbi Abba announced whoever wants to be rich should come and learn Torah. And Rabbi Yesi came. A whole Arichas Nazir with a lot of Nekudas. But the Rebbe brings out there in a kuda that what's the inyan of Mateicha Leilishma Balishma? He says is that when a person wants Shaleilishma, person wants Torah for money, he says the teich of the want for the money is lishma, because be'emes a person who learns Torah should have a lot of money, because that's meisiv b'kavet shemayim. So when a person says I want to learn Torah to have a lot of money, having a lot of money is something that really is be'emes a lishma l'mudat Torah. Nervous, he doesn't chap. He's still thinking about the gashmistic tiny of his money. But the inyan that he wants is an inyan amiti, because a person who learns Torah should have shleimus gashmis. And the Mela, that's what he really wants. He wants to learn Torah for gashmis. That's okay, because that's okay. Nervous, as he'll get older, he'll understand that gashmis that comes from the Torah is to be made of cover shemayim. But the Rebbe says here the Nachmin and the Sikh, and again, I think we're going over time over here, but the Rebbe says the Nachmin and the Sikh is such a Shalei Lishma. When a person wants Shalei Lishma, but that's a Shalei Lishma that ultimately is not part of the Kavanah, then you wouldn't say Mitech Shalei Lishma Balishma. Very beautiful in the Sikh over there in Lech Lecha, Beis and Chelik Chav. Al Derech Zalbi Messiah, there's one more Sikh in Chelik Tezvav. Vayeshev Beis, the Gabi Bikish Yankiv Leishev B'Shalva. So there the Rebbe read the Zel Bezach. And the Rebbe says there, because Yaakov Leisha B'Shalva, Vaitel L'Churi wanted in Gashmi, what's going on over here? So the Rebbe is there, and the Sikha says, hey, it's Vav. I just want you to have word. The Rebbe says, the Shleimus Harotzim von Ebershon in Mitzvahs is, as wie es soll mit sein Matzovi, Mamodi von der Mekaima Mitzvahs, soll der Herren die Gutskeit und Netigkeit von der Mitzvah. Und der Rieber ist der Rotzim von Mitzvahs, das Lavish geworden in Tam, und es Gerim, und bringt Schar. As eich an Narkoten, Beruchnius, Beloshna Rambam, in dem Matzev seinem, soll der Herren sehr Gutskeit verren. In other words, mitzvahs are supposed to be good for you, for every person, whatever is good for that person. So when a person wants to do a mitzvah for good, that's the kavanah. A mitzvah is for good. Elamai, the person gets older, so then the mitzvah, then the hert is noch better. It's like beautiful in that sikh, in Hamshach of that sikh. The Rebbe says that in order to feel the real Gutskeit, the atzmis, so that's by tzaddikim g'dolim. He says a regular person will only have that when Moshiach comes to understand the real Gutskeit of mitzvahs. And by tzaddikim g'dolim v'zane zeichet ze'ulam chatir b'chayacha is der gili anal faran echen zer aveda b'elam haza. As in zer kiyam mitzvahs b'elam haza steht begili der rotzim v'tainu b'atzmi. So you see, it fits so beautifully with the Rambam that the Chachamim Neviim, or in the Lashon of the Sichel Tzaddikim G'dolim, even now they heard the shleimus of what mitzvahs are good for, to bring the ultimate good. But a person who's not only that on that madriga nowadays until Moshiach comes, and he that has only a lesser pe'ula that Torah mitzvahs tunu from belt that gives him schar gashmi, or the Mashiach gives in Yonam Gashmi shlemus hashpa begashmis. That's also machake lebiyosei and dasat the Rambam. The Messiah. The last halacha the Rambam says, "Beis hazman lo yisham lo rov lo melchama lo kina lo sina lo sachros." The fishatei tevatim mushpas harbe. Chol amadan suin kofer. V'lo yiyese kol en kuli elo. So that whole first line of all the good things that will happen, the Rambam says, "B'derech shlila," that all those good things will happen, and we won't want it. We'll only want Torah. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that all those things are like okay, and then we'll be a second Torah. If you read the Rambam, it sounds like those are also good things. Be'esi hazman, there's going to be a liyashom le'irov, v'lei milchama, v'lei kina, v'lei sina, v'lei sachrus, v'ateva timashpas harbe, kol madan suim kafar. These are all yiudim of Mashiach. They're an expression of Mashiach. Nevertheless, we won't be, for us, will be most negeya is the shleimus, not the external expressions of Mashiach, though they too are Mashiach. We're going to want the ultimate, which is pnuim b'terev chachmasa, molar is deya savaya, kamayim liyam achasim, kenti yalonu b'korev mamash.